What's up, y'all? It's Coach Justin.
What's up, y'all? It's Coach Justin. We're here again at the Sit Down Podcast. We have a very special guest, Alexis Gray-Lawson. How's it going?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming. You've been somebody I wanted to get on the show for a while. Obviously, me watching you play when I was younger and just following your career. Just start off telling us a little bit about like how you got into basketball, what age, and like who got you into it and stuff like that.
Sure. So I guess I just started. I was at the park one day. I have a whole bunch of cousins and they're all guys and everybody was hooping and they wouldn't let me play. Right. So I just I was competitive and I wanted to win. And so I just started working out and trying to kind of get in the groove of everything. And, the rest is history.
What age would you say you like started playing at a serious level?
I was probably like maybe 9 or 10.
And you started playing for a team and stuff?
Yeah. So I started playing for a team probably when I was maybe in the 3rd or 4th grade. I was actually on the playground and one of the coaches was playing dodgeball and I was like knocking all the dudes down with the ball and the coach was like, "Oh man, you super strong, like come play for me." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I played and I hated it. Like
really?
My first year, I hated it because I never got to play.
Oh,
so
okay. Is this like a co-ed team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, co-ed enough, it was just me.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I don't know, I guess like for the most part, it was just it was crazy. It was like a crazy journey to start, and none of the boys liked me because I was a girl, and so I kind of dealt with a little bit of that. And then
were you kind of good at this point, or you just
no?
Like athletic?
I was terrible.
Okay.
I was just super athletic.
Yeah.
I can run up the floor all day. I played defense, and so I think like I didn't get in really until like the championship game. It was like 2 minutes left. He put me in. I'm like,
man.
all right, I'm about to get this bucket. And I got a steal, and I made the layup. The game went off, and we lost because I scored in the wrong basket. So I like after the game, all the boys was like super mad. And after that, I kind of just like wanted to beat everybody at that point. I was like, all right, like it's time to work out.
So did you play like AAU and stuff growing up?
I didn't really get into AAU probably until about 7th or 8th grade.
Okay.
So I started with Pico.
Okay.
At the Rainbow Center.
What was the name of that team again?
The Lady Bulldogs.
Lady Bulldogs, okay.
Yeah, so we started there 7th grade year, and that's kind of like when me and Devin started really playing with each other. Like she had played like on older teams, like with like Tim and Allende and those guys. And then I would train with them, and so that's why Pico saw me. And so then 7th grade we played together and then kind of took off.
So Lady Bulldogs, is that the only like AAU team you ever played for? I
played for them like middle school, pretty much all middle school, and then we like kind of all ventured off. I played for Explosion like my freshman year.
Explosion.
So freshman year I played with Explosion. It was me, Devin, Courtney, and Ashley Paris.
Oh wow.
And then we all left and went to West Coast All-Stars. We played for Jerry Gatewood and kind of got more national exposure, and that's kind of like how everybody started to recruit us a little bit more.
Okay, so what age was that?
I think it was like, I was like maybe 16,
okay,
16,
so
17, yep.
So at what point did you become good? Because obviously when you're working out with Tim Pierce and Allende,
yeah.
you would get better.
I guess for everyone else thought I was really good, I think starting 8th grade year. Because that's when everybody, I think, started to like openly try to recruit me to come to their schools. So it was kind of like, I want you to come to my schools. It was blowing on my mom's phone. People was like offering a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
And then I still was kind of oblivious to how good I was. I think at that time, I kind of was just like, I'm okay. I'm not the best, so I'm just okay. And then I think 9th grade, I kind of started to really believe in the hype. Like, okay, like I guess I am kind of good. Right. I can play against older kids. They was having Midnight Madness at that time at Rainbow. So I was playing against older kids all the time. And so I was like, well, if I could beat these guys,
right.
I can definitely beat high school kids. So
what? So obviously you saying you were trying to decide what high school. What made you pick tech?
I didn't have no choice.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My parents were all about academics and making sure that I was going to be in a program that not was good, but that was going to help me to develop and to grow. So I actually had every intention to go to Castlemont.
Wow, I never knew.
So I was supposed to go to Castlemont. I played for them my 8th grade year.
Oh, like that summer?
And then everything was going great. And then the tech girls happened to be on the team too. And I just clicked with them right away. So my mom was like, I love these kids. You know, they're super, you know, mature. They'll help you grow, whatever. And so I ended up going to Tech and playing for Wu.
If you would have picked me, would you have went to Castlemont?
Probably.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living in the West.
Okay.
I was like right by Mac.
Okay.
So it would have definitely been a journey in the morning time.
Right.
But my mom worked out here, so
okay.
it was easier for her to be able to drop me off than not. So it just kind of worked out that way.
So obviously you're at Tech now, and did you play varsity as a freshman?
Yep.
You did. Did you get minutes?
I started.
Damn. Were y'all good?
We was decent. I mean, we were.
Are you and Devin A same grade, right?
Yep.
Same class.
So Devin A went to Berkeley High.
I remember
she decided to go to Berkeley High, and everybody was trying to go to Berkeley High at that time because obviously they was better than everybody.
Right.
And so I wanted to go to a team that hadn't won because I kind of wanted to pave my own way. And
so Tech wasn't good prior to you guys? Oh, wow.
No, but they were at the bottom probably every single year.
Damn.
My first year in, we went OAL.
For real?
Yeah.
Who else is on your team? Anybody?
Jamila Simpson, Ina Kamanis, Adamika. Nah, like most people wouldn't have known.
Yeah. I mean, even I was so young. I was young watching y'all, so I was really young at that time.
Yep.
So Devin A's at Berkeley. Y'all went to Hill. Did y'all won the whole thing? How far did y'all go playoff?
So we got to second round. We lost to Midi.
Okay.
And that was the first. Yeah, that was the first time I actually lost that way. I think we lost by like 25. And that was the first time I had a big loss. So I was like literally in the gym the next day because I was hot.
Sick.
I was hot.
So that sophomore year, is that when Devin A comes in?
Yep. Devin A comes my sophomore year.
Okay. How was that? Wait. Let's go back. That freshman year summer, did you play AAU?
Yep.
With who?
Explosion.
Okay.
Yep.
How was that?
It was good.
Devin A's on this team
Devin A's on this team. Okay. We went to nationals. We won nationals that summer.
Damn, for real?
Yeah, we won nationals by like 30 points. Damn. Like by every game, we was blowing everybody out. And ironically, it was in Minnesota. So. Oh wow. Yeah. So we won, and I was like, okay, like we was getting in the flow. People were starting to pay attention. Like, okay, like maybe these kids are as good as they say. Mm-hmm. And then the next summer is when we played for West Coast. So. Okay.
So then, how's your sophomore year? So now Devin A's there.
So now Devin A's year is an adjustment because now I'm going from maybe having to score more and I'm having to get maybe 20, 25 a game to now having to take a back seat in a sense because, I mean, the reality of the matter is at the time, there was nobody as big as Devin A.
Right.
I mean, you talking about somebody that's 6'4", super long, crazy athletic, can get up and down the floor. Right. I mean.
Can shoot it.
Yeah. I mean, she was
a unicorn.
Great, yeah,
exactly.
She was different from everyone else, and so when you playing with someone like that, we really became like this Kobe, Shaq type of,
that's dope.
Dynamic. Even our relationship was very much like that. So,
meaning like y'all would bump heads sometimes.
Yeah, we always bumped heads. Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Of course.
So how was that sophomore? How was that season?
It was good. I mean, we went undefeated that year for the first time. I think we got to like maybe the second round or semifinals and we lost. I don't even remember who we lost to.
Okay.
And I think that summer is really when me and Devin, they both committed to being like, all right, like this is really what we want to do. Like we got to go win. We cannot not win.
Right.
So we are like literally everybody played that summer. We made sure that everybody worked out that summer. And junior year, we came in beasting everybody.
Really? Is this the first you guys go to state this year?
Yep. That was our first championship.
You guys won it that year.
Mm-hmm.
I was at that game. You know what's crazy? You were the first person in my life who autograph I got.
For real?
I swear to God. I might still have it. I'm gonna try to find it at my mom's house.
That's crazy.
That year too.
That's
Because my dad used to bring me to all those games.
Yep.
And it's crazy because you and Devin A are family, but on my mom's side is with Devin A, and then you obviously on my dad's side. So that's dope. How was that year? Like, are you starting to get recruited now at this point? You have to be, right?
Yeah, so I think like we were getting recruited like starting 7th grade year. So 7th grade year, we got our first offer from Cal.
Okay.
And so people on the West Coast really knew who we were, but no one else really knew who we were. Mm. And then that junior summer is kind of when we kind of blew up out of nowhere. I think people already knew who Devin A was, but they had no idea who I was. Mm. And at that time, I mean, post players were in. We had Courtney and Ashley, we had Devin A. There was like DeWanna Bonner. there was just such a variety of post players. The guards kind of took a backseat to everybody else. So the only other guard that was supposedly the best was Erica Arion at that time, and she was the #1 player.
Where was she at?
She was out of LA.
Okay. So this is in the country or the state?
Yep, in the state.
Okay.
So she was #1 in the state, and then she was like 2nd in the country.
Shit.
So
where did she end up going?
She went to Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, she ended up having like a whole bunch of like injuries and stuff like that. But
Gotcha.
I mean, she was legit.
She was good.
She was 5'10". She could shoot the ball. Great passer. High IQ. And then that summer she started. So it was his entire, I would say, starting 5 and 3 on the bench were all McDonald's All-Americans.
Well, wait, so she played with you?
And yep.
Damn, so y'all team was 2 stacked then.
I mean, we were ridiculous. Like, probably, I would say.
So wait, what's her name?
Erica Arion.
She played on the same team as you, and Devin A.
Yep.
Oh, they all was cheating.
Yeah.
So and what team was this?
West Coast.
West Coast. Okay, obviously that makes sense.
Yep.
How was that, like, winning the state championship? Who'd you guys play in the state? You remember?
The first one we played. I have no idea who we played. That's crazy. It's been so long.
Yeah.
I don't remember who we played the first time, but I do remember fouling out.
Really?
Yeah. I remember fouling out the first one and the second state championship. I fouled out. And Devin A fouled out the second one. And I remember Bradley literally getting a layup. She ended up getting like a layup on like a little push out and ended up winning the state for us. So that was crazy. It was both championships were won by everyone else and everybody expected us to do it. So I think that was kind of like the dynamic of our team. It was
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So then how is senior year now? Obviously y'all coming in with a different mindset. It's obviously repeat.
So I think junior year really, at least for me as a player, really helped me to develop into like a mindset of like, all right, every time I step on the floor, I want to kill somebody. Because Erica, because she was so good, I ended up having to come off the bench for at least the first tournament. And I remember we ended up doing a tournament somewhere in LA where he split the team and he ended up putting me on a B team. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh man, you don't even know what you just did, right? And so I ended up picking her up 94 feet. And I think I ended up having like 35 that game. So I like ended up killing her. And so he was like, oh, like, you know, she's different. You know, she's different. And so
that's
just
something
put me
you can't teach.
Nah. So every game I literally went out and I was guarding the best player and I definitely was going to score on the best player. And that's just the mentality that I had all junior year. And I think playing under a coach that had that same type of mentality kind of allowed me to push my game to the next level. So senior year was a breeze to me because at that point I felt like, all right, like I played all of the so-called best. Then I for sure got to murder y'all because this is what I just did on the circuit. So for me, it was just always feeling like I had to prove myself.
That's a dope concept though, because a lot of people get to a certain status and they get comfortable. You know what I mean? And it's like, now I'm content, I'm the best, I might not work out as hard, or I might go against somebody else. So like, I know I can serve you, so I might go through the motions a little bit. So that's a gift within itself, so I commend you for that. How was, so now let's talk about senior year. You guys obviously probably beat everybody out here. Did you guys lose any games other than state that year?
No.
Because you lost in state, right?
We won state.
Senior year too? Okay, you guys, y'all played the team from San Diego, right? What was her name, the girl that was good?
What is her name?
Because she had a good college career too.
Yeah. Candace
Wiggins.
No, we played Candace my first year. My first year. My second year, we ended up playing, I can't remember her name.
Okay, so
Sharday Houston.
Sharday Houston, that was the name.
Yep.
Okay, that was because she was playing well, but y'all was blowing them out, I think, right?
Yeah,
I remember that game. Back-to-back state championships, and then at what point did you commit to Cal?
We could put it really early. I mean, considering everyone else went on visits and stuff, I think after the recruiting process, I was so drained. That summer, I was like, all right, come on, let's figure something out. Like, we got to figure, at least do top 3.
Right.
And so my top 3 was at that time USC, Stanford, and Cal. And I remember like thinking, all right, well, are we gonna play together? Are we not gonna play together?
You and Devin A?
Yeah. So I knew that for a fact that she liked pretty much the same schools. And then it made it even better that, Janae had just committed to Cal. Chantrell had just committed to Cal.
I don't know these people.
Chantrell Sneed, she played at St. Mary's.
I know that name.
If you see her, you would definitely know who she is. Janae was from San Francisco, but we played it with each other for a really long time. We were all playing for the Bulldogs. And then Ashley Walker, who we had also played with when we were younger, had committed to Cal. So for us, it was like a no-brainer. It was like, all right, they going, we all gonna go.
That's what's up. So that was like first option?
First option, we went with it. And I think our parents was kind of like, you know.
In cahoots with it?
Yeah, they're like, oh man, you guys are going to Cal, so you might as well, you know, you'll be home, you'll be the hometown kids, and
we'll get to be able to see you play.
We'll get to see you play all the time. You know, it was a different dynamic because Cal was like at the bottom of the pack, so they hadn't really won anything. So it was, again, that build up future legacy type of thing where we're like, all right, we can go in and create something for ourselves. I didn't want to go to UConn. I didn't want to go to Tennessee where everybody else had already had a name. And now I'm just just another name that's coming into the program.
That's a good point. Did any of those schools offer you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Was there any school that didn't offer you?
No.
Really? Damn, that's dope.
Yeah. I think for me, you know, you come home and there's like piles and piles and piles of mail.
Yeah, I went through that.
And you know, like you're like, all right, I don't want to read all this mail. Like
I never read that.
It was a little bit, I think, overwhelming, especially for us and the type of kids we was. We just like, all right, whatever.
That's what's up. So how was the transition going from high school to college? Was it pretty easy for you?
We had been playing against like other college kids and doing different things during our workouts. So I think for me, it was just a mindset. Like at that point, it's like you're starting over, right? So it came back to being, all right, I want to be the best. I want to be the best. I want to be the best. And freshman year ended up being where I got the opportunity to really showcase because I went to a school that wasn't really playing well. Mm-hmm. So I was able to showcase kind of what we had and what we were doing. And I think we ended up like losing in the Pac-10 championship that year. So it was a completely culture, I think, change at Cal when we got there. And
you guys are a group of freshmen coming in?
Yep.
Damn, that's what's up. You started your freshman year?
Yep.
And then, so how was the second year then, if you guys? So
second year, I think 9 games in, I'm thinking, so I just came off of being honorable mention, all Pac-10. I think that year I also like won for like rookie of the year, which had never happened at Cal. So I think everybody's expectations were for me to be up here.
Right.
9 games in, I tear my ACL at Kansas. So definitely, I think not the sophomore year that I would have expected for myself. So it was tough. It was definitely tough.
What did that do to you mentally?
I was hurt. Yeah. I had never been hurt before. So that was really my first injury of having to ever sit out a game. So for that to be the first time that I actually have to sit out, it made me just like think like, all right, what am I going to do if I don't come back the way that I'm supposed to, if I'm not as fast? Then of course, you know, everybody's like, oh, like, is she really going to come back? Right. Is she not? You know? So I think like for me, it pushed me at the same time. It kind of gave me that doubt, like, all right, like I have to do something else. So I just focused more on my shooting and trying to like really have to, you know, focus on my 3-point shooting. Because at that time, I really didn't have to shoot.
Yeah, you just took it.
Yeah, like I could just get to the basket at ease. Yeah. And I was faster than everyone else. So I'm like, all right, so if I'm not that fast, I got to be able to do something and bring something else to the table. So coming back, I think people saw more me shooting my junior year than they actually saw me going to the basket. Just mentally, I wasn't ready.
That makes sense. So how long were you out for?
6 weeks or 6 months.
6 months. So you obviously missed the rest of that year. Was rehab tough for you?
No.
It wasn't?
No, I probably had the quickest rehab. I was back walking within probably a month and a half.
Wow.
So,
because I tore mine as a freshman in high school, and but I tore every ligament in my knee. So I was out like 18 months.
Oh, nah.
And it was like, I mean, thank God I never tore it again. But that, I wouldn't wish that shit on nobody. That was the most miserable time of my life. I was on bed rest for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Had to wash up in the bed, had to pee in one of those little, like, that was the worst shit ever. You know what I mean? The pain was unbearable. Like, it was then my other knee started giving me all these issues, getting back in shape and all of that. Like, that shit was tough. So your junior year, you come back. Are you ready to go like by conditioning and stuff, or do you have to start late?
No, I ended up starting pretty much when everyone else started. I think probably like July is when I was really trying to like develop like just being able to move the same and doing some of the same stuff. And then probably I would say when we started, I would have like a little bit of pain. And I wasn't like sure where that was coming from, if it was like a mental thing or like an actual physical thing. And then I would say mid-season, we play Stanford and I go crazy. And then after that game, I was back. So it was great that it was the Stanford game, because obviously they were our rivals in Stanford.
Right.
You know, like it was a big deal.
So that year, do you lose your starting spot? Do you come back and it's still there?
I come back into a starting spot.
So that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, for me, I think like we recruited really well. Like we had a lot of people that came in after, and it was great. It was like great competition all the time. So it just made me more prepared. It made me have a better mindset. And on top of that, I was going to hoop with guys. So my knee wasn't right, but my mental was there. And
then it goes back to you from your whole journey. It's like you always set this. Like no matter who else is there, I'm gonna be like on 100 at all times. Right.
I got to. You know, because I think it's hard growing up here, and everybody, we have like this, I think, chip on our shoulder all the time. Like, I want to be better. I want to be the best. And then I think people recognize and they look at Oakland and they don't like be like, whatever. Like, it's kind of the same situation with Dame right now. Like Noah, everybody's like, maybe he's a third.
It's always that doubt.
And then he go crazy and everybody's like, oh, this man really not playing. Yeah. And they don't understand, like, it's that thing. When you from here, we just different. We're just made different.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think we all go, we all been through that. And we feel when that switch is activated. For sure. It's like you said, when the coach split you up to A, B, like you don't know what you just did. But you put me on the second team, like, you just
so
woke
it's
up
like
a beast.
I don't know, I always say it's like a light switch that goes off. Like I think you have like this doubt and you have this like fear, and then that light switch goes off and you like, oh.
And it's a gift and a curse, because not everybody has it's easy for you to say, obviously, because you walked in it, and but from the outside looking in, there's plenty of people who can't handle that.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's just like that little bit of doubt or whatever, they let it consume them, you know what I mean, to the point to where it affects their play. So that's another, dope thing about you. So how'd you guys do that junior year in college?
So junior year, we ended up getting to the Sweet 16, we played UConn. We played well in the first half, at least. We up by 5.
Then they blow it out the. I remember that game.
Yeah, and then they
pulled away.
Yeah, it was just like I don't know what happened in the second half.
Transforming to another team.
It was like night and day. We were like, after the game, I remember feeling like, really, like, seriously.
Yeah, we just laid it.
Like we just really did that. Like, so it was. The good part, I think, it helped showcase Ashley and Devin in a different light, because now they have to play against the best all the time. Mm-hmm. So now they're getting ready for the draft.
Right.
So as they're getting ready for the draft, like I'm sitting there and I'm trying to think, like, do I go? Do I stay? What do I do? Like, what do I do? At that time, I'm ready to graduate.
Wait, really? In 3 years?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. So
I was ready to I was pretty much done with classes by junior year, because I was home. So I took summer classes all the time.
Oh.
So between summer classes.
That's a very good point.
I started ahead of everyone else, because freshman year, most people come in. Well, all the athletes come in early, obviously, because of workouts and stuff. But they have a program where you can start your credits in the summer. So I was a lot further ahead than pretty much everyone else. So at that time, I'm still trying to figure out, what do I do? Like, do I stay, and I was eligible because I was graduation ready. So I was eligible for the league, but,
What was it, family and everybody trying to help you with that decision, or was it like?
For sure.
Okay.
I mean, I think for my mom, she was like, "Hey, you about to graduate? Don't worry about it. You do whatever you want to do." Right. My dad was more so like, "All right, so yeah, you had a pretty decent year, but next year you can have an even better year and really like knock it out the park
and be like a for sure."
Exactly.
And ultimately, what did you decide?
I stayed.
You stayed.
And I'm glad that I did, because that summer is when I like had my first like taste with the Olympics. So
really?
I got invited to the Olympic trials. I had missed it 2 years prior to that because I was out with an injury. And I got to go to the trials and be a part of that process and understand about USA basketball. And we had done USA basketball like in high school.
Right.
But it's different when you get to college.
Right.
Now you're playing, with, Brittany Griner and like, Tina Charles and Maya Moore and like all these different players. And so I think it just helps you elevate your game a little bit more.
So you stay, and how was that year?
It was tough.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did you not play well, or was the team not as good?
I think it was a variety of all of that.
So how many of your group is still there at this point? Because you guys
They're all gone except me.
Wow.
So now we have this group of 5 freshmen that are coming in that are super talented, McDonald's All-Americans, but they're not ready.
Oh, yeah.
So
rightfully so.
I'm thinking in my head, they're going to be ready. This is a great time for me to, show leadership. And I think maybe we were 5 games in and we were like 2-3. We were playing terrible. I mean, we were just playing terrible basketball.
And you had never been a loser.
No. So
how was that for you mentally?
Terrible. Because, I mean, at that time, you're thinking, what is it going to, all these games are going to affect me long-term, NCAA
Your
tournament,
future,
my future,
drafting,
draft pick, like what's going to happen. You can, have bad games and know that you guys can still win because, you have Ashley and Devonay. And with this team, I kind of have to be the leader.
Alexis Gray-Lawson admits losing her pals Ashley Walker and Devonay Hampton this year was hard, just not on her game.
Who would ever thought that I would have scored 47 points?
Not many saw Gray-Lawson set the Cal scoring record at Oregon State, not even her mom.
She's like, how'd you do? I was like, I did all right. I had like 47. And she's like, Alexis, stop playing. And I'm like, no, I really have 47. She's like, all right, okay, whatever. And then the paper comes out the next day. She's like, oh my God, you have 47. And I'm like, I told you that last night.
One of 9 children, Gray-Lawson is 3rd on Cal's all-time scoring list. She's worked harder than many for that achievement.
Got cut right here.
Coming back from an ACL injury in 2006, leaving personal doubts about her career, she wasn't the only one.
I remember reading in an article written by ESPN, like, that's great that she's coming back, but is she going to come back full strength? And I actually have it posted in my locker. And that was pretty much my motivation, like, okay, well, I got to come back because everybody's expecting me to. And I think, I just had a conversation with, like, my family, and I was like, yo, like, I don't know what to do at this point. But, I mean, I think we kind of pushed through it. We pushed through the season. We started to play really well once Pac-10 season got in. We fell short in the championship. I had an injury during the championship game. We were playing Stanford. I go up for a layup, come down completely wrong, smash my head into the floor, leave in an ambulance. So that was the end of my Pac-10 journey, was leaving in an ambulance.
So ultimately, when you hit your head, was there anything serious, like a concussion or something?
Yeah, I had a really bad concussion. I got to the hospital. I think I needed a couple of stitches.
Damn.
I hit it hard. And then I got to the hospital. Of course, my mom and dad are like joking back and forth. Get home, we missed the tournament. So we're 1 game out for the tournament. And then they bring up, well, let's do WNIT. So I'm like, I don't want to play in no WNIT.
Right.
But that was a choice our coach made. And so I was like, okay. So I have to miss the first and the second game.
Because of concussion protocol.
With the concussion. And come back, go to practice the next day, go up for a layup. I get hit in the eye.
Oh my God.
So I have like this like huge lump on the side of my face, and it's like super big. So I'm like walking around campus because it didn't open. So it's just like a huge knot.
Split. Damn.
And so I'm like, oh man, I'm about to look ugly on TV. Then I think that like 2 days later we played in the game. Split my eye open.
That same knot?
During the first play, yep.
What the fuck?
Open it up. I go to the back, get stitches, come back out, end up playing really well. We get to the next game. So, like, each game, like, it was like I was going through something. I'm like, yo, like, okay, enough is enough.
Right.
At this point, get to the championship. We played Miami at Cal. We win. I end up being MVP. It ends up all working out. Next day, it's announced that like I end up getting like guard of the year. So it was like all these things are like falling into place.
So you went through all this fucking storm to, you know, all these like all these things that kept trying to knock you down, like to, you know, make you quit for lack of a better term or whatever, but you obviously persevered through it and then you reaped the benefits at the end. That's pretty dope.
So then it's like, I think like the draft was like 2 weeks later. Mm-hmm. And so then they give you the choice, like, do you want to go to New York? Do you want to stay home? I decided I wanted to stay home, be with my family. Everyone's calling me, agents calling me, you know, you can be a first rounder, you're going to be a first rounder, top 5 picks, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there, first round goes through, name not called.
Wait. How was that feeling? At that point, what do you think?
At that point, I'm like, people tripping. So I'm out here hot because I'm, you know, like, I think for me, it was like, I've played against all these people. Like,
that's the worst part about it.
You know, like,
yeah,
so I'm
trust
like,
me.
all right, okay. Second round comes, I'm not picked.
Wait, you didn't get drafted?
So I ended up getting picked in the 3rd round. I was the first pick of the 3rd round.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So
at that point, I was hot. I was absolutely livid. So all I thought was like, if they keep me on this team, I'm killing all y'all.
It's a wrap.
So
what team did you get drafted by?
I ended up getting drafted by the Mystics, which was in Washington, and I had a huge like. I think most people are like really, really happy about, you know, you get drafted. It's a big deal. I was like mad. I was hot. So while everybody else is all excited, I'm like sitting there with an attitude, and because I felt like for me, I knew better, and I should have gone higher.
Right.
But I also understand that like God does everything for a reason. He's done everything till this point.
Right.
So I get to Washington. I play extremely well. I think in the preseason games, I end up having 20 each game. Play it well. They cut me. Yep.
Why?
They said I was too small.
Wow.
So then I'm really hot because I'm like, all right, y'all knew exactly how tall I was
when y'all
first picked me, you know. So I'm like, all right, like this is gonna be crazy. So I go home and I quit. I was like, I'm not playing no more. Like I'm done. I'm like, I don't want to play these political games. Like
I think I remember this because I think my dad called and told me about this.
Yo, I quit. My dad's like upset. He's coming in, but like blowing my phone up. Like you can't quit. You can't do. I'm like, I'm done. Like I don't want to play no more. Like I'm good. And I think like a month or two pass. I get out of shape. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like yeah, like I got a degree, but am I gonna play again? And then I get a call like, hey, you know, from my agent, like, Turkey wants to pick you up. Do you want to sign? I said, nah, I ain't signing. I ain't going to Turkey. I'm not going to Turkey. And so my mom, she calls me. And then, like, literally is at the door while she's on the phone. Like, open the door. She got the contract. Makes me sign the contract. And I was like, I guess you better get in shape then, huh? So I was like, all right, fine.
How long did you have to get ready?
Couple weeks. So I think I had like maybe 3 weeks, and then I left, went to Turkey, get there, coach is like, you know, like you look great on film, blah, 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 blah. So I'm thinking, all right, like, okay, this is going to be fine. He don't start me. So he benches me and he don't play me. So now I'm getting paid to sit on somebody's bench. And in another country I ain't never been, and we're in the middle of nowhere. So it's not even like a city where, you know, I can go and like have fun. So I'm like literally sitting in my room, not playing no games, but getting paid to sit on the bench. So I'm like,
which to the normal person they'd be like, shit, I'll take that, but to a competitor and a hooper, it's like, nah, fuck that.
Who doesn't want to sit on the bench for $50,000?
Right.
So they're like,
right.
All right, just, you know.
Right.
So my dad's like, don't you come home, like you sit on that bench. I'm like, all right. Probably I say maybe it was like December. We ended up playing Diana Taurasi. And, you know, for me, she was the GOAT. So
she still is to me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I was like, yo, I got to figure out how to get in this game. Y'all tripping. So I think we were getting blown out. Probably the first 10 minutes in, we was down by like 20. It was like 20 to like 2 or something crazy. So I'm like, coach, just put me in. Just put me in. He puts me in. First play of the game, I got to guard Diana. I get a steal on her and get the layup. She talking crazy to me, like crazy. So I'm like, all right, well, shoot, you want to talk crazy? Yeah. I'm about to talk crazy to you too. So, like, we ended up losing the game, I think, by like 15, but I ended up having a really, really good game. And after the game, she calls Corey Gaines, who ended up being her coach at the time. And she's like, hey, yo, this is this kid here. Like, you got to see this kid play. The coach benches me for the rest of the season. So I get to like, probably like mid-season, we're in like February. He puts me in a game, I tear my meniscus.
Oh, wow.
The next day after I tear my meniscus, I get a call from Court Gaines like, hey, do you want to come work out? Let's put you through a workout. If you do well in the workout, we'll give you a chance to come to try out at, training camp. I'm like, all right, when y'all want me? 3 weeks. I just told her, I said, all right, cool. So this journey is crazy. So I call my agent like, yo, I got to get home quick, get this cleaned up. I fly into Chicago. There's a snowstorm. So I'm supposed to have surgery like the next day. There's a snowstorm. We snowed in. So I can't do nothing. So I literally have to stay at the hotel. I'm snowed in for 2 days. Luckily, they rescheduled my surgery. I get off the plane, go straight into surgery. And I had like 3 weeks to get in shape again.
How do you come back from a meniscus tear that fast?
I don't know. I was
You didn't
crazy.
have a choice.
I was crazy. I don't know. I was just like, I got a choice.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Went, worked out, killed everybody at workouts. Corey's like, oh man, like this kid is the next, Cappy Poindexter. Like she got like super great skill. I'm bringing her to camp. So I tell him like, yo, if you bring me to camp, I'm taking somebody's spot. I'm just telling you this right now. So he like loved me. He was like, all right, yeah, like come to camp.
This, yeah.
They come to camp. At the time, Taylor Lilly was there.
Okay.
So it was like Taylor Lilly and like all these other people, Keisha Soigné. So I'm like, man, I'm about to go to camp. I didn't play against Taylor a whole bunch of times. We get to camp first day. Diana comes out to try to guard me playing one-on-ones. She comes out. I cross her. She tweak her back. I get the bucket. Corey like, it's done. You on the team. Signs me like literally after practice.
That's what's up.
So it was, the journey was definitely rough, but it was all.
I feel like you kind of damn near needed all of that just so you wouldn't lose that edge. Because like we talked about earlier, at any point, somebody can, at any point, anybody could get content. Not saying you would have, but we never know.
Yep.
So maybe, it was God's way of just keeping you humble. You know what I mean? Just every step of the way, I feel like there was a hiccup. And he was just like, bring your ass back. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
for sure.
Because that's dope, though. That's super dope. So how was that? Now you make the team.
So now I make the team. I still got to go through training camp. So I'm still having to prove myself. And then probably I would say first game, we play in the preseason tournament. We get to the preseason, we play against Team China.
Okay. And
so Diana sits, most of them don't play in the preseason. I end up having 35. So then he's like, oh, like, this was the best pickup, like, whatever. So after the game, Diana and they all is like, oh, yeah, I'm so glad y'all won. We should all go to the mall, blah, 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 blah. Now, I said, all right. Now, my mama told me about this, so she goes, yeah, let's go, to Balenciaga and to Louis and like, blah, 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 blah. Now, my mama told me, if you can't afford something, you don't go into those stores. At that time, like I was just broke kid from. I ain't got no money to be, going to this. So she was like, so all the rookies go except for me. I stay at the crib. I come into practice the next day. She said, why you didn't come? I said, man, I ain't got no money for that. Like I ain't got no money for no Louis. She goes in her like in a little drawer. She pulls out some shoes. She's like, don't even trip. I got these for you. They were some brand new Louis shoes. Dopest thing
Diana
ever.
Taurasi?
Yep.
That's
so she got my first pair of Louis.
That's fire.
Yeah. So it was dope.
So how was you in her relationship?
We was close. She like, after workouts, after practice, she'll be like, hey, no, stay. Like she was the last person in the gym. So she just like Kobe. Like she just wanted to be the best. So just being able to be under her, having to guard her every single day, pushed me to want to be better. So it was great.
And how many seasons did you play with them?
So I played with them for 3 seasons. I ended up like having a really bad ankle. Like
I think I remember that.
I think I dang near broke my ankle. I was going up for like a shot. I was about to block somebody's shot. Came down completely wrong. I like tore like almost every ligament in my foot.
Shit.
And I was like, oh man, we about to go through this again. I had just signed in Israel for I think like the 3rd year. And I was getting big money at that time, so I'm like, I can't pass up this contract.
Right.
This not this type of money.
Right.
I have like a month before it was probably like a month and a half before I had to be overseas. Came home, rehab, my ankle would not go down, it would not heal. So I ended up playing with like a sock over my shoe to try, so like, I don't know why my daddy came up with it, I don't know. I had my ankle taped, I had my shoe on, and then you put the sock over the shoe and you would tape the sock into the shoes for the compression. And literally, I was limping half of the season, like limping up the court half of the season. Damn. It was like, probably one of the worst pain that I had like felt. Like it was way worse than my ACL.
What was the team saying? They weren't tripping?
Nah, because I was still scoring. Yeah. We were still winning. So they were like, whatever you need, you want some ice? Like,
that's crazy. So how many? So this is in you say Israel.
Yep.
And then did you come back to the WNBA? Or what?
Yep. So I ended up my contract was done, so I was a free agent. So I ended up signing to Seattle.
Okay.
So I signed in Seattle. Things go really well there. Have a great training camp. You know, playing defense. I try to get through a screen, and somebody hits me at the same time as I'm reaching. I tear something in my shoulder. So now I'm out for like maybe like a month or 2. Go home. They're like, go home, rehab. So come back here, rehab for 2 months. They don't make the playoffs. So then at that point, my body just was like starting to fail me. Right. So I'm like, all right, like it's time for retirement. Like, what's going on? So I go back overseas. I go back to Israel, have a great season overseas, no injuries. I'm like, okay, like then I ended up getting to Minnesota and getting a job and end up coaching. So it was like God's like way of like pushing everything through for sure.
And how was that, the coaching thing? Was it hard for you to transition from a player to a coach? It was like second nature? Well,
I was there, and I actually got to be under, like Sue Phillips here for women's basketball is like she's the legend. She's won a whole bunch of games. Well, in Minnesota, there's a lady by the name of Faith Patterson who's literally probably won just as many games, if not many. She has probably like 6 state championships. Like, oh, wow. Black lady, like that's just dope. The truth. And she took me under her wing my first year, and the next year I ended up being a head coach.
At a high school? Mm-hmm. And then you guys were pretty good?
We was decent, We like won 5 years in a row undefeated in our conference.
Decent? Trying to be humble?
Yeah, we was decent. I mean, we definitely had a lot of stuff we needed to work on, but we was decent.
That's what's up. So are you still coaching now? When did you come back?
I came back a month ago.
Yeah, because I think my dad told me that you were back. And I was like, oh shit.
So I got the job at St. Joe's. So St. Joe's opened up, and I'm getting the job at St. Joe's.
Congratulations, that's what's up.
Thank you. And then at the same time, it's crazy because I have a 3-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. Mm-hmm. So, just thinking like, dang, like they'll never I think it's one thing to see on YouTube, but it's a whole other thing to have the experience. So I was like, all right, it's time to come out of retirement. So now I'm out of retirement. So now I saw that post. Trying to work out and get ready. And so, yeah.
So what's the name of the team that you're playing for?
The Oakland Warriors.
What is that like?
So it's like the G League for like the W.
Oh, okay.
So they've been more so in the South and the Midwest. And now they've made the expansion to the West Coast.
Okay.
So it'll be good. It'll be definitely good to be just kind of get back in the flow of things and get back in shape.
That's what's up. Where will you guys play at?
I have no idea.
Not yet, yeah.
I have no idea.
Especially with this whole
COVID, everything's kind of switched everything up.
Damn. So you the varsity coach at St. Joe's? Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So it'll be good. It's gonna be.
Do you know anything about the team or something?
Yeah, I mean they were really good last year. They got to state, and then they like lost.
Oh shit! So you coming into?
Yeah, so like they pretty much have a pretty new team for the most part, but a lot of the good kids were a lot younger. So
yeah.
It'll be good to just kind of get back into that, and I think it brings something different out of me for sure.
Right. Yeah, I gotta make sure I follow y'all. That's what's up. And is there anything else specific that you got going on right now, or just obviously trying to get back into shape?
Yeah, just getting back into shape. Well, I'll have an AAU team next summer.
What's the name?
We ain't
decided
decided.
Yeah.
Like I think for me at this point, it's just like, what can I do to just give back to the city that gave me so much?
I'm trying to kind of in the process of doing the same. Obviously, coaching at MAC, and I was gonna do the AAU thing this summer. I had my guys. We had everything set up, and then this shit happened. But yeah, let me know. I can help, man. Whatever. Like obviously, we got each other's number now. So that way, you know.
For sure.
Whatever, you know, little girls or whatever, because I still do my training thing here and there, and sometimes some of them come through.
Yeah.
At what point did you feel like, okay, maybe I might start coaching? Was it while you were still playing, or was it never a thought?
It was never a thought for
Really?
me to really coach. I think people, like I had coaches that said, man, I think that you'll be really good at coaching, and that, you know, you really know the game, and you have a different perspective, and you really relate to other kids.
Right.
So I think just that piece allowed me to coach a little bit more, but I think that there's so many things that I wish that I knew. Like, you know, when you were in high school or in college, like there's things that I wish that I would have knew about my body, about, you know, like mentally just preparing for games. So I think now it allows me to be a really good coach because I'm able to give that piece. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's coming along. We played my dad this year, so I'm excited about that.
Oh, I'm coming to that game.
So,
I'm coming
you know,
to that
he
game.
been talking with Big Mac, so it'll be good to, you know, just be around, you know, like-minded people for sure.
Well, that's what's up, man. I want to thank you again for coming down. Obviously, I was like, as soon as my dad told me he was down, I was like, man, I got a hitter to come on the show. So thanks for coming down. You know, we scheduled it pretty fast. And then I want to try to do something with you coming over there, and then like, you know, just a little, like once the season starts, you know, like a little update type thing.
Of course.
That way I'll come to you. Is there anything else that you want to, you know?
Nah.
Okay. Thanks again, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.